So imagine this. Africa's population is on track to double. That means we need a boom in food production that seems, well, almost impossible. Could artificial intelligence actually be the answer? And if it is, how do we make sure this incredibly powerful technology helps and doesn't harm the very people it's supposed to be feeding? Let's break it down.
First, we're going to dig into the massive challenge facing Africa's food supply. Then, we'll explore what it even means for AI to be responsible. After that, we'll get real about the hurdles versus the opportunities. And finally, we'll look at the roadmap for getting to a smarter agricultural future.
All right, first things first. We really need to wrap our heads around the scale of what we're up against. The numbers here are just staggering, and they totally set the stage for why we need brand new solutions, like right now.
By the year 2050, Africa's population is expected to hit 2.6 billion people. Just let that sink in for a second. More than doubling in just a couple of decades. That kind of growth puts an almost unimaginable pressure on the entire food system.
So, to feed everybody, food production needs to jump by a massive 70%. But here's the real kicker. We can't just go out and find more land. The vast majority of that increase, we're talking 90% of it, has to come from making the farms we already have radically more efficient.
So that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? How on earth do you pull that off? Well, the answer, as more and more experts believe, lies in using one of the most powerful tools of our time, artificial intelligence.
Okay, but just throwing AI at the problem isn't the answer. Not even close. The how? Well, the how is everything. And that brings us to the core solution that this research proposes, making AI responsible, right from the very beginning.
The whole idea here is something called responsible AI. You can think of it like a promise that any AI we build has to be lawful, ethical, and solid. It's not just about what the technology can do, it's about what it should do to genuinely help people.
And that promise? It's really built on 4 pillars that all have to work together. First, the AI has got to be fair, so it doesn't just repeat the same old human biases. Then it has to be transparent, so we can actually understand why it's making a certain decision. That transparency is what allows us, the humans, to stay accountable for what it does. And of course, above all, it has to be safe and reliable, with backup plans for when things inevitably go wrong. But, even with all these amazing principles, there's a huge catch. Because at the end of the day, AI is often just a mirror. It reflects the people who build it, and that includes all of our unconscious biases and blind spots.
And that leads us to a really critical problem. You look at Africa's AI workforce, and you see that nearly 3/4 of the jobs are held by men. Now, this isn't just some random statistic on a chart. It is a massive warning sign with very, very real-world consequences.
This quote absolutely nails the risk here. Our human biases don't just magically disappear when we build new tech. Nope, they get baked right into the code, and sometimes with seriously dangerous results. For years, car safety systems were designed using data from the average male, which actually made them less safe for women in a crash. We're at risk of making the exact same kind of mistake with AI in farming.
Okay, so let's get real for a minute. The promise of AI is absolutely massive, but so are the challenges on the ground. It's time for a reality check. And this, right here, is the central tension in a nutshell. On one side, you've got these huge opportunities, boosting productivity, creating new jobs, empowering women. But on the other side, the challenges are just as big. Not enough local data, low digital literacy, and some really serious privacy risks. And then there's the environmental cost, which honestly is just shocking. Training just one complex AI model can pump out 284 tons of CO2. To give you some perspective, that is 5 times the entire lifetime emissions of an average car. It's this hidden cost we absolutely have to deal with. But even with all these hurdles, the potential payoff is a true game changer. I mean, just picture it. Farms where AI-powered drones are keeping an eye on livestock, where agrobots are harvesting crops with superhuman speed, and where satellite data is telling a farmer exactly how much water and fertilizer to use, down to the last drop. This isn't science fiction anymore, it's the real promise of a smarter, more productive farm.
So how do you walk that tightrope? How do you grab all that promise without falling into the peril? Well, the research lays out a really clear 4-part path forward.
The whole strategy really rests on 4 main pillars. First up, strengthen capacity. That means investing in people, updating what's taught in universities to build up local AI talent. Second, increase funding. We desperately need more public and private money flowing into agricultural R&D. Third, foster collaboration. Academics, governments, private companies, they can't be working in their own little bubbles. They have to build these solutions together. And finally, number 4, strengthen policies. We need smart, clear rules for data privacy and ethics to build trust and make sure everyone is safe.
And all of this leads to a final, really provocative question. See, because Africa has to solve these problems of bias and data scarcity and infrastructure right from the start, it can't just copy and paste what other places have done. And that gives it this incredible, unique opportunity to leapfrog the old models and actually pioneer a truly human-centered AI, an approach that's built for fairness and for inclusion from day one, a model that the rest of the world could, and probably should, learn from.